I do want to thank you all for coming today, showing your support, expressing your concern over this very important issue, and learning more about small bondholders and what they stand to lose in this deal that is coming out of Washington. The folks behind me here, they do represent millions of Americans who have loaned General Motors billions of dollars by purchasing their bonds. They are not hedge fund managers, they are not giant corporations, they are not private equity speculators, they are our friends, they are our family, and our neighbors who are counting on the repayment of these bonds to finance their retirement, their health care funding, and of course their children's college education. My father bought bonds in General Motors because he believed in this company. He didn't work for them. He just believed in it. It was a good, solid company that gave you a good return on your investment for a lot of reasons that these men are here today.
And about a month or so ago, we started getting calls and emails and mainly telephone calls from a lot of bondholders around the country about the inequity, as Sandy has pointed out, of the situation with General Motors. So we held a press conference first in Warren, Michigan. Great turnout there. Of course, that's just outside Detroit, so you had everybody and his brother and sister there talking about this. And we got such a good response trying to provide a voice for these forgotten folks, if you will, and we call them the Main Street bondholders as opposed to the Wall Street bondholders. These are the little folks who put a little bit away, and now they've seen that diminish to hardly anything. They don't have a voice at the negotiating table. They've been squeezed out. So we're saying give them some representation.
I needed this type of safe and secure cash flow to invest in my Social Security in order to pay our bills, our taxes, and our medical costs, and have enough left over. These bond debts should not be ignored and forgiven. I don't know of anyone who has a debt obligation that can satisfy that debt without paying it off. Do you? Suppose you miss a couple of car payments. What they do is take the car payment. Suppose you don't pay your IRS taxes. Does the IRS say, oh, that's okay, pay whatever you want, whatever you can? I don't think that happens either. This debt is owed to us. Thank you.
I use the interest in these bonds for everyday living expenses and not for the CG and go bankrupt. After doing the math, I realized if I were to accept the administration's current offer, I would have only $10,000 a year from other income to live off of. I used to be a member of the Machinists Union back in the 70s. I'm eager to see a resolution that's fair and equitable to everybody. You got to see both sides.
But I'm here today on behalf of my mother, Vivian Floyd, who lives in the Villages in Central Florida. And she is an 80-year-old, recently widowed GM retiree and a small bondholder. Both my mother and I have a significant amount of money invested in GM bonds, and she uses the interest on those bonds for her retirement income. And I was planning to do the same when I retire. I'm 58 years old right now. We are here today to urge the Obama administration to listen to our concerns and treat us fairly in the GM restructuring. If the value of General Motors reaches, gets all the way back, this is the best case scenario, I suppose, but all the way back to its highest value that it was in the last 10 years, the Treasury and the UAW will in essence double the amount of money, they'll in fact double the amount of money that they have forgiven in debt, and the bondholders will get about 18% back.
In '94, I purchased 200,000 of GM bonds at a premium, and use that income to pay property taxes and homeowners insurance. Without this income, I would have to sell my house. So I urge the administration to give small bondholders a seat at the table and give us a say in these discussions. We have been left in the dark during these talks, yet small bondholders make up over 20% of all GM's bondholders. Banks and unions are given a seat at the table. Why not the small bondholders? If GM goes into bankruptcy, thousands of senior citizens' retirement savings will be wiped out.
What's good for General Motors is good for the country. Well, what a sad state of affairs we've arrived at now, 55 years later, that General Motors is not good for the country.